Hey, what's good, everybody? How's everybody doing? I'm Jabari Showtime, back here again with another episode with you guys. All right, it's One Supreme Mike. Make sure that y'all follow me on every social media platform at Jabari Showtime, and follow my business page as well at One Supreme Mike. And guys, I would really like to talk about the Dallas Cowboys situation, particularly at defensive tackle. Now, we all know as of right now, recently Jonathan Hankins has now finally moved on in free agency and has officially departed from the Dallas Cowboys, signing with the Seattle Seahawks, right? And we all know one thing about the Seattle Seahawks: our former defensive line coach, who was once with us, is now with the Seattle Seahawks as a defensive coordinator, right? So we definitely know that to a certain degree played a role, with his departure, right? So I would like to, emphasize that and touch upon that. What does this mean for the Dallas Cowboys? Well, this means for the Dallas Cowboys clearly have a defensive tackle vacancy. Although, Jonathan Hankins missed such a big part to this team, and he had such a major role with this team, even if we were to retain Jonathan Hankins, he still wouldn't be enough, right? You see, Jonathan Hankins is, what you would call a one-tech defensive tackle, right? He's more so of a nose tackle, a guy you can place over center, a guy who can, pretty much take on that double team and pretty much be a run stuffer, a guy who can pretty much control the interior of the line of scrimmage, right? Help with run support. It helps the linebackers out, right? It helps the linebackers be able to shoot through the A gap and the B gap at a more efficient rate, right? Makes their job easier. And now that we have a certified one tech out the building, that puts more pressure on our young project, and Mozzie Smith. You see, everybody wants to say Mozzie Smith was a bad pick and Mozzie Smith is this and that and the third. But honestly, it takes time for defensive tackles to develop, right? Most of your best defensive tackles across the NFL took time to really get to where they're at, right? Dexter Lawrence took time to get to where he's at. Christian Wilkins took time to become the player that he is. Right? It's very rare that you see any defensive tackles just have an immediate impact in the game. So, although I did like the pick of Mozzie Smith, we have to still take in consideration and understand that, not only was last year Dallas Cowboys draft class a futures draft, but most defensive tackles that aren't top 10, top 15 talented caliber players in the draft overall usually are just going to be developmental players for the long run. It's going to take these kinds of players about, maybe 3 to 4 years to really develop and blossom. And as you can see, throughout the years, the Dallas Cowboys haven't necessarily put much value in defensive tackle. We've drafted here and there, but we haven't really put so much of an emphasis on defensive tackle, and particularly finding somebody who can really stop the run. Now, have we, let some players go? Most definitely, and that's what I exactly want to touch upon. We remember Quentin Bohanna, who we drafted in the 6th round out of Kentucky in 2021. We remember John Ridgeway the third, who we drafted in the 5th round out of Arkansas in 2022. These two guys particularly, if we were to keep these guys on our roster throughout the seasons, possibly these two would be our future, or at least be our insurance. Although we let a Hankins out the door, it wouldn't be as a sense of urgency or as much as a panic or anxiety to realize that Jonathan Hankins is no longer with us. He's no longer with this defensive line group. If we were to give, an extended opportunities to a John Ridgeway and to a Quinton Bohanna, because these guys have the right size, these guys have the right mentality, these guys have the right grit you want in your defensive tackles. You let guys like Osa Okodigizua be your finesse third techs. Guys like the Nevele Gallimores, who also departed. As you're still trying to grow and develop a Mozzie Smith. You shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket only on draft players. Right? And, you see, the John Ridgeways and the Quinton Bohannas leave and depart. And them really just get the opportunities from these other teams that pick them up. We see John Ridgeway getting his opportunity with Washington. We see, Quinton Bohanna doing what he's doing with the Detroit Lions and now having an opportunity with the Tennessee Titans. Like, I remember the last few memories of John Ridgeway when he was here, right? We heard about the training camp fight he had with Josh Ball. Josh Ball, a former offensive lineman who was kind of just a project, who never really panned out. He had so many opportunities. But John Ridgeway had so many limited opportunities. John Ridgeway got in a fight with Josh Ball in training camp. And they sent him to the locker room after he got into that fight with Josh Ball. Right? They sent him packing. I'm going to pull up a quick Sports Illustrated article on that, right? Cowboys fight. Rookie John Ridgeway ejected from OTAs. Quote, "I don't plan on getting in the backseat in the NFL," said Vanilla Gorilla. Vanilla Gorilla, I guess that's John Ridgeway's nickname. "I plan on getting in the driver's seat and taking off." This is an article written by Mike Fisher, who is also, a Dallas Cowboys media guy. The Dallas Cowboys knew exactly what they were getting in John Ridgeway. And at Thursday's OTA workout here at the Star, they got it. John Ridgeway got into an entangled with an offensive lineman, Josh Ball, during live action. A couple of helmets went flying, and ahead of the rest of the team being allowed to exit the backyard. Heat. Ridgeway was sent to the showers. Cowboys felt they were out-physicaled in their playoff loss to the Niners and wanted to use this NFL draft to avoid being big boyed again. So basically, you're going against what you were pretty much trying to get rid of, and that's getting out-physical by your rival, your conference rival in the 49ers. Right? You got a guy like John Ridgeway who has fight and grit, and you get rid of him. One of the results of the Vanilla Gorilla. Yeah. I just find it so amazing how the Dallas Cowboys say one thing and they do the complete exact opposite. Quote, "I ain't going to try." Quote, John Ridgeway. 6'5", 320-pound, 5th round draft pick by the Dallas Cowboys. To break someone's neck when I get out there. Well, this was a version of that. John Ridgeway was on record saying, "I'm going to try to break someone's neck out there." And you even had, to a certain degree, a Jerry Jones co-signing to this guy. But the Cowboys are so obsessed with, their brand and their sponsorships. They didn't want this to be a bad look. Him getting into a training camp scuffle was a bad look to them. So he eventually got cut sooner or later during that preseason, that training camp. and was claimed off waivers by the Washington Commanders. And you know they gave him an equal of opportunity. There's no telling what, if we were to stick with a John Ridgeway, what he would be with us. Considering he would still be an understudy underneath the Jonathan Hankins, behind Osa Digizua, behind a Neville Gallimore. Right? Same thing with Quentin Bohanna. If we at least, kept these guys on a practice squad, maybe one of them would have, got claimed off waivers by another team or departed. But it's the mere fact that, we're in reactive mode instead of being consistently active on building the interior of our defensive line. This is why we're in the situation that we are in. And when we look at Mozzie Smith, we see, that Mozzie Smith struggled his rookie season as expected. And also, Mozzie Smith losing all this weight. Mozzie Smith coming into the 2023 season losing 40 pounds from the time he was drafted at Michigan to the time he entered training camp. Now, I may do a whole nother video on this. So many politics and so many things that could play a rough factor in this. Was it Dan Quinn encouraging, Mozzie Smith to lose weight? Was it, had the front office have any influence on that? Or was it Mozzie Smith's, decision to lose all this weight? Was it any kind of a form of mental health or depression that Mozzie Smith might have lost all this weight? We don't know. But all we know as Cowboy Nation is that we have a huge vacancy and a problem at defensive tackle that we have to unfortunately address in the remaining of free agency, and also addressed in the draft. But hey, this is my time. It's Jabari Showtime. Make sure that y'all follow me on every social media platform at Jabari Showtime, and follow my business page as well at One Supreme Mike. Alright, peace. Let me know what y'all think down in the comment section below.